This map shows the forests of America in the early 1600s, a continent nearly covered in hundreds of millions of acres of woodland. And for nearly 200 years, this map changed slowly as we chipped away at these trees, until in the mid-1800s, something changed. Industrialization swept the country, and demand for timber skyrocketed. By the 1890s, our nation's eastern forests were nearly annihilated. Almost all that was left of these once epic woodlands lay in the untamed American West. Here, many saw an opportunity to do what had been done in the East, cut down the trees and reap enormous profits. But one man saw something else. A last chance to conserve a stunning landscape for generations with responsible land management. Gifford Pinchot's family made their fortune from the Eastern timber rush, but his calling was conservation. He found kinship with Teddy Roosevelt, who, once president, named Pinchot the first chief of the new U.S. Forest Service, and by 1908 had reserved 100 million acres for national woodlands, more than all future presidents combined. The essence of Pinchot's mission was simple: to manage land, quote, for the greatest good of the greatest number in the long run. And today, our country's forests haven't just stabilized, they're growing once again. But most Americans have never heard the story of Pinchot and the Forest Service, and take the management of our woodlands for granted. If this history is forgotten, we risk repeating the devastating mistakes of the past. To preserve and communicate this invaluable piece of our country's rich history is the core mission of the National Conservation Legacy Center. In Missoula, Montana, our team is already hard at work building our country's first national museum dedicated to conservation history. Here, visitors won't just observe a series of static exhibits. Instead, they'll take a journey through the diverse biomes of our country protected and conserved by our Forest Service, interacting with exhibits to bring conservation history to life. For example, at Rings of Change, visitors interact with a model tree ring exhibit, activating the various rings of growth to display information about landmark events in conservation history. Or consider the campground water pump, which invites visitors to pump the handle and pour out a stream of information on the history of watershed conservation onto the floor and up onto a huge digital screen. Moreover, the building itself will stand as a monument to our country's woodlands, using innovative mass timber construction, which is not only sustainable and low carbon, but beautiful and inspiring as well. Among the building's landmark features are its enormous glass panoramic walls, which bring nature into the building, and the tree-like columns which line the facade and interior lobby, each built from a different tree species central to our country's conservation history. Today, this magnificent National Museum is nearly complete, but to finish the job and bring the wonderful exhibits to life, the National Conservation Legacy Center needs your help. In 1890, Gifford Pinchot saw an opportunity, a chance to dedicate himself to a task which could help conserve our country's tremendous natural bounty for generations. Today, you have a similar opportunity, a chance to keep that history and the conservation movement alive and rejuvenated in the United States. This is your chance to contribute to this incredible project to build our country's first and only national museum dedicated to conservation history. Gifts of all sizes are welcome, and various commemoration opportunities are available. We need your help to cross the finish line on this national treasure before 2025 year's end. So, be like Gifford Pinchot and help us carry on his mission of conservation for the greatest good of the greatest number in the long run. To help support this amazing conservation project, scan this QR code or contact the museum at 406-541-6374 or go to forestservicemuseum.org/support-donate.